Do you know how to store basic ingredients from the store long term? Today we are going to learn how to vacuum seal these items to last for a year, 2 years, 5 years, even 10 years or more. Good morning, everybody. My name is Deb from Just Do Something Homestead, and oh my, it's almost 100 degrees out. So I'm inside today, and we are going to learn how to stock up on food. And don't mind my hair. First off, the sun is bringing out the natural highlights of total gray. But I've also been outside watering my gardens and my flowers and my animals and everything else that needs to be watered when it's this hot. This is real life, people. So let's get started. Today, we're going to learn how to vacuum seal some of the most basic necessities that you can purchase from your local grocery store. And if you hear some noise in the background, that's because Jim is upstairs remodeling our bathroom. It's no great surprise, but the prices at the grocery store are outrageous. And I am so thankful that I've been vacuum sealing food for years. But yesterday, Jim and I went grocery shopping, and it was funny. I grabbed this huge 3-pound bag of rice, put it in the cart, and at the same time, he was grabbing dried beans. Beans and rice are two foods that are still relatively inexpensive. They can be stored for long term, and they're easy to feed a crowd. 3 others on my top list for vacuum sealing long term is pasta, flour, and oatmeal. There are many advantages to vacuum sealing your foods. First off, it removes the air, and when you remove the air, it helps the food to store longer. It also keeps the moisture out of your food. That's what happens in the summer when you have high humidity. So if you've opened up a pack of crackers and they've gone stale, it's because there was too much moisture in the air. Third, it extends the best by date. So if I am storing something such as rice, I can store this for up to 10 years. And lastly, it keeps bugs and critters out of your food. Even if you are using Mylar bags, mice and rats can chew in those bags, but they cannot get into jars. The first thing you're going to need is some canning jars. And what I have right here is a variety. The most common size I use is the 1/2 gallon. And that's because I'm putting it up for long-term storage, so I want to be able to fill as much as I can in one jar. But you can vacuum seal in any of these jars, even down to the itsy bitsy ones. That's because canning jars have 2 size lids. They have the regular size and they have the wide mouth. And since they are standard sizes, these lids are going to fit onto any of those jars. In addition to jars, as we mentioned, you're going to need lids and you're going to need rings. Rings are what goes on the top of the jar after it's sealed. If you're doing powdery items, I recommend having some cupcake liners. A wide mouth funnel helps to keep your product in the jar and not all over your counter. And the last item you need is your vacuum sealer. This is my Food Saver FM5200 series, and I have 2 of these. One of them I've had for over 11 or 12 years, and this is the newest addition to the family. The first one still works fine, but when I found this one really cheap this year, I decided, I might want a backup. They sell this one for less than $200. The most important thing, if you are buying a Food Saver, is that it has a port. You're going to need this to attach to the top of the jars. And the new Food Savers already have these jar sealer attachments with them. If you have an older one, you may have to order a set of these. It was, I think, about $13.99 for 2 of them. And I found them on Amazon. If $200 is just over budget, then what I recommend is the rechargeable handheld. I was extremely fortunate to find this at Ollie's, Ollies, a couple years ago for less than $20, but I found them on Amazon for about $50. Another helpful item to have would be a Sharpie, because when you're finished vacuum sealing your food, you definitely want to write the information on the lid. I buy most of my canning jars at the thrift store, but what I'm finding is they very seldom are carrying the 1/2 gallon jars anymore. I typically buy mine at Walmart. There are 6 in a case. I'm excited when I can get them for less than $15. but I know they have a special going on where you can get 2 cases for $32, and I included the link on this video. Another thing I like about ordering from Walmart is if I have over $35, they ship it for free to my house. All right, let's get started. The very first thing you want to do is wash all your jars in hot soapy water and completely dry them. Typically, I do this the day before. You want to fill your jar. Now, you don't want it to the very, very top because I've found that it's difficult to seal if there's no head space. Well, that worked out just about perfect. This is 3 pounds of rice. I would have normally put it a little bit higher. Maybe we can see here, maybe another inch or so, but this is not bad. One thing I really enjoy about vacuum sealing is you can reuse these lids over and over again. This says Sunflower Seeds 2022. Well, obviously that's not what I'm vacuum sealing. So what I'm going to do is wipe off that rim, make sure there's no rice particles up there, and put this used lid on top. Next, I'm going to put on the adapter and push it down tight so it is securely on the top of my jar. This is that port that came out of my food saver, so I am going to plug it in and make sure it is securely in the lid of my jar. Then turn on your vacuum sealer. It's automatically going to go to dry, and I'm going to push accessory, and when it is completely done vacuum sealing, it will shut off on its own. A little noisier than usual. I think I have it vibrating on the box next to it, but it completely shut off, and now you can remove the top pieces. To check that this is sealed completely, what you do is just pull it as hard as you can just with your fingertips to see if the lid will come off. Another way is to look for the indent on the top of that lid. Look. If you look really close, you can almost see sunflower seeds, but basically it is off, and I did that with a magic eraser. Rice is one of those foods that I can seal for an extremely long time. I expect this to be good with no difference in taste for at least 10 years. Now you might say, well, how do you know that? I know that because I have rice that was sealed for 10 years and it was still good. And unfortunately, there are so many variables. Where you store it, how you store it, the temperature, the lighting, that will all affect how long you can store this food. So for me, with my pantry, I know this is good for 10 years, and all I did was I wrote rice and that it was sealed in 2024. Next, I'm going to put the ring on, and a lot of people say, well, why do you have to put on the ring? Well, you put on the ring in case my jar gets bumped. It is not sealing it. It is already sealed. But if something happens, this jar falls off the shelf, this little lid pops off, my food is still contained in there. It's saving me from it going bad, for something getting in. It's just going to hold it on there. I'm going to seal my flour next because it does take an extra step. So we're going to start exactly the same way. I have my jar, I have my wide mouth funnel, and I'm going to fill it to, just a little bit under that rim. Now, if you were to look at this jar, you would say, whoa, Deb, I think you overflowed. What I did, I've poured it in there, and now I'm going to shake it around, thump it around, and this flour is going to settle. You watch. All right, it did not settle a little. It settled about 3 inches. So I'm going to add some more to bring it, about there. Now remember how we wiped the rim? This shows you exactly how much flour or residue was on the top of that. So I am actually going to take a wet paper towel, a damp one, and completely clear that off. And this is where the extra step comes in. I am going to use a cupcake liner. Now you can use a coffee filter, a paper towel, a tissue, whatever you want, but what the purpose is to create a barrier so that when the vacuum sealer starts sucking out the air, it doesn't suck the flour into your machine. That would destroy it very quickly. With this cupcake liner, I am going to push it out a little. So I'm just going to go around with my fingers and not completely flatten it, but about halfway up so that it's wider and it fits the jar better. Then this liner is just going to set right on top of the flour, like that. There you go. I even found a lid that says organic flour. This one's saying best by 2025. I can always change the date on that, but otherwise, follow the same procedure. Put on the lid, put on the attachment, connect your vacuum sealer, and remove the air. When we talk about the expiration date of flour, we're actually talking about the best by date. This one says it's best by March 26, 2025. I know from experience and how I store mine that it will last 1 year past that date. So I'm going to put March 2026. A little harder to see, but March 26, 26. When I cook beans, I'm not using an entire half gallon of beans at a time. So I'm going to use a wide mouth quart right now. Same procedure. I filled it, wiped the top, placed the lid on. But this time, I'm going to use my handheld. You're still going to need the Food Saver jar sealer. Goes right on top until it snaps. But this time, you're going to plug it into the space on the bottom of the handheld adapter, so it goes right into the hole and push down tight. Now this I cannot explain. My beagle absolutely hates this adapter one. So once I push vacuum, she's going to run out of the room and hide for the next hour, but it just must make a different sound because it doesn't bother her with the other one. And there you go. It shuts off when it's finished. It goes very quickly, and it's what I think is pretty quiet. Then check the seal, make sure it's tight, put a ring on it, and again, it is ready to go. All right, Jim needed me to run upstairs. He's going to turn on the water and make sure there's no leaks. I'll tell you, it'll be nice to have a shower again. All right, I'm going to vacuum seal these last two items, the pasta and the quick oats. It takes a little bit longer to get the air all out. And an addition that I do is I write how long that it takes to cook it. And there you have it. In just a matter of minutes, I was able to vacuum seal flour, oatmeal, rice, pasta, and beans. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye.